Good evening. This side Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. As we speak, Treasury Consulting is a multinational headquartered group based out India, Singapore, and Hong Kong. And we are 100% profitable concern. Before I start, I would like to give you a pleased news, which is we crossed near about 2000 videos on Takatak. So as we speak, we crossed near about 2000 videos on Takatak. And another good news is we crossed near about 2050 photos. Photos means the financial market photos on ShareChat. So as we speak, we crossed near about 2000 videos covering financial markets on Takatak and near about, I would say, 2050 photos on ShareChat. The journey is very long and we keep you posted. Today, I would like to cover a very important topic which is happening in India, and unfortunately, the investor community is not aware about that. Like I promised, we would have a Facebook Connect almost every day, but time is a constraint. Henceforth, we have Facebook Connect always in the nights. Now, before 2020, Indian corporates were raising a huge amount of money, which is called debt. And when the COVID struck in 2020, Indian corporates got excuse. And what the hell is excuse? That due to COVID, the working capital is facing limitations. Henceforth, we are raising the debt. Now, effective 2020, Indian corporates raised a huge quantity of debt. Now, when I am using a word corporate, I don't mean a corporate. I mean corporate, bank, non-banking financial corporation, these so-called startups, and even government-owned organizations. They all are raising a huge amount of money. So in the last 1 year, whether it is banks, whether it is financial institutions, whether it is non-banking financial corporations, or whether this is corporates, they have raised a huge amount of money. Now, debt is accumulating in the books. And end result, we all aware that bust is on the cards. So in this week, 3 real estate companies in NCR, National Capital Region, got, I would say almost bankrupt. Number 1 is Supertech. Number 2 is the Logix Group. The news is coming about Logix Group. And very recently, one more company is almost on the verge of bankruptcy. There are many other banks and financial institutions, those who raised a huge amount of money or on the verge of raising a huge amount of money. Keeping this in mind, investor community in India needs to be very careful. Because if you are taking a share of a company who is heavily indebted, then you are inviting the trouble. Now, there is a concept called shareholding pledge. So let me give you a simplistic example. Suppose there is a company called Ramlal Chola Bhatura, and Ramlal Chola Bhatura is listed. Since Ramlal Chola Bhatura is listed, what happens, if they pledge, say they pledge 40% of their stake to a bank or probably a financial institution, or probably any private equity or a venture capitalist firm, keeping this in mind, this Ramlal Chola Bhatura stock is not a good stock to invest. The reason being, 40% of the equity is already pledged, which means, God forbid, if anything happens, then the lender, it could be private equity, venture debt, probably a bank, they would be invoking that pledge. And once they would be invoking that pledge, in that sense, it would be a disaster for Ramlal Chola Bhatura. All those investors who invested in Ramlal Chola Bhatura would be facing a deep mess. The reason being, their share is pledged. Their shares were pledged and now they are invoked. Since they are invoked, now the new management would be different. So the investor community needs to understand that they should not invest in a company where share price is pledged. This is something which is very important to understand. In this last 1 year, the Indian capital market, precisely speaking, witnessed many companies who accumulated a huge quantity of debt. But irrespective of the fact that the share prices got hike. Now, since the share prices got hike, in that sense, sooner or later they would be, I would say they would be busting, because there is no other option. They would be busting. This is something which investor community needs to understand. And I would like to say, debt level is rising. We have seen in case of Sri Lanka, we have seen in case of Pakistan, and now we are witnessing many more countries who are joining this league. Please be very careful, because if you would be investing, then you would be in trouble very soon. Because if you are expecting corona or any other virus or any other eventuality, the probability of having any other eventuality is not there, then you need to learn that, because there is a big probability. This is what I would like to discuss today, our Facebook session. To answer a question, which sector will give more advantages in 2022? I have already said this in my YouTube videos that there are 3 sectors I strongly feel those who have a huge potential. Number 1 is definitely the oil and energy sector, like Russia-Ukraine war. Before Russia-Ukraine war, oil was near about 70, and now oil is near about 110. Today, Russian TV, basically the television channel of Russia, they said that World War III has already started. And I think they are not wrong in that. World War III has already started. It's a matter of time when the war between Russia and Ukraine would shape up as a world war. Oil and energy would jump. Like, take an example of gas, take an example of gasoline, take an example of CNG, take an example of Brent, or any other oil and gas product, you will see there is a substantial rise. But there is a clause. The clause is that the oil producers would get benefit as compared to oil importers. So example, there are companies, I'm not quoting any name, there are companies who are importing the oil and there are companies who are producing the oil. There is a difference. Those who are importing the oil, I'm not giving any name, they might be in a serious trouble because of the oil volatility. But those who are producing the oil, they would be the greater beneficiary. I have given the appropriate hint. Second, I think that is the renewable sector. I personally feel that renewable sector is having a great potential. Corona is one thing, Ukraine-Russia war is another thing. The very important fact is the glaciers, the global warming. We are hardly any concern about global warming. global warming is shaping up. Since global warming is shaping up, it would have substantial impact on the renewable sector. There would be a push towards the renewable sector. Of course, India would also get that push. Keeping this in mind, it is wise to invest in a renewable sector, but I'm not giving any names because I have stopped giving any names, because once you give the names, people start copying it. Third sector I feel which would have a huge potential is the metal sector. In the eventuality of the war, in the eventuality of the ecological disorder, by ecological disorder means the glacier melting, the global warming, and all these kind of eventualities, the metal sector will always go up because of the input cost, which means that today the input cost of aluminium, say X, it would substantially jump up if there would be any ecological disorder. Of course, if the input costs jump up, the companies, those who are selling the steel, nickel, iron ore, and all these kind of stuff, they will hike the prices. I feel these three sectors are very important in another 2 to 3 years. And of course, the banking, but Indian banking is sitting on a huge non-performing asset. And I have raised the concern many times, let it be very honest. So at the end, I would like to warn people that the many corporates in India, the debt is rising. I have given my definition of the corporate, let it be honest. Rest is all your call. But today I am pleased that the TikTok crossed 2000 videos, ShareChat crossed 2000 images. More is on the cards. Like promised, we have one Facebook Connect every night, and the copy, basically the video of that Facebook Connect, would upload it on the YouTube channel probably in a day or so. This is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting Group. You knew my personal number 9899242978. I repeat, 9899242978. Thank you and have a great time ahead.